Hey, how's it going, everyone? I just got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I've had an unfortunate realization through playing it. And that's that I started not enjoying Marvel Champions. And I had to reflect on that a bit. And there's many different reasons why I think that's the case. And I wanted to share with you all why I'm feeling that way. And also, I want to start off by saying that it's not that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is bad, so I don't like playing it. It's actually the exact opposite of that, to where I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really good, but I wasn't enjoying playing it on my first play. So I had something that I had to figure out. If you've been following the channel and my updates and all this stuff, you'll know that I was really excited to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I had this 3-player campaign set up with my girlfriend and my friend where we were going to play through the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. campaign with Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Black Widow. And I've been looking forward to that for the longest time. And when I finally got to the first game, we were playing against Black Widow, and I was in, despite being so excited for it for so long, having a great day before that, and then getting to hang out with two people that I really enjoy spending time with, playing a game that is one of my favorite games, I wasn't having fun. And I was feeling frustrated and I just wasn't enjoying the experience. And there's a few reasons why. It's kind of been growing for a while now on the channel with the gameplay videos I've been doing. And a lot of it's related to the rules. So the rules 1.6 is a very, very long rule book. And if you've seen this other video on my channel, you'll know that I made a video going over just reading the entire thing. That video is about 4.5 hours long of just reading the rulebook. And I really did my best to try to understand the rules and how it works and make sure that I was playing correct because I felt pressure to do it correctly as a YouTuber for the game. I didn't want to be posting gameplays, especially that new players are going to watch, whereas making a bunch of rules mistakes or like doing it wrong. So I felt a bunch of pressure to try to make sure that I got every single rule right that I could. And in the process of doing that, I learned a lot about the rules. And I also once I started learning more about the rules to where I felt like I understood them well, a lot of the things that were coming up were just extremely frustrating. And that's because the rulebook 1.6 is incredibly long and it feels like just a bunch of band-aids trying to hold together this big bunch of rules that doesn't actually quite work. And I'm not saying that the designers did a bad job with the rules or anything. Like, I think it's good that they wrote this rules 1.6 to try to fix all of the like outstanding issues. But what it turns into is not this coherent thing that you can understand and then know how the rules are going to work. It's essentially just like a conglomeration of if statements saying, if this specific case, then this. But if this other thing, then this. And then it just isn't useful. And a lot of the things in the rulebook, like if you go way, way deep into the weeds, you'll start noticing contradictions within the rules, which are really frustrating. And through the process of trying to just understand this fully, it just became a source of grief for me. So what happened was when I was playing the first scenario of the campaign, I was trying to make sure that I was planning on learning the scenarios so then I could make gameplay videos so I could share gameplay with everyone. And it was just frustrating. So when I was trying to immerse myself in the campaign because that's one of the things I like the most about the game. But then there's multiple different rules, things that came up and like wordings on cards that just completely took me out of the experience to where now I'm not playing the game. I'm not Nick Fury trying to infiltrate AIM and rescue some people. I am now just thinking about the rules. And breaking that immersion breaks one of my favorite things about the game. And it's not fun. It's like I've started becoming like bitter and kind of just grumpy and negative about all of the different rules interactions. And I see something and I'm like, well, there's that thing again. Or like, oh, because of this one rule that's like a sub bullet of this other rule for this specific case, that actually doesn't work. And that's not fun. It's not fun having all of that in my head all the time while I'm playing. Again, it breaks me out of the immersion, ruins the theming of the game, makes me stop thinking about the strategy, stop thinking about hanging out with my friends, and then turns it into this thing where I'm just like thinking about this rule book that isn't actually completely consistent within itself, and then trying to make sense of that. And it's just not fun. And this didn't used to bother me. And I don't think it's actually all that big of a deal either, is another thing. Of if I didn't feel this pressure to like make these YouTube videos about it and actually understand it fully and do other stuff with the game that I don't really want to go into, that I wouldn't be feeling this way. So like for the average player, I don't think this matters. For me a year ago, none of this mattered. And also for me a year ago, I was enjoying the game a lot more. So I just kind of want to be done with it. So like on the bright side, I basically tried to reassess. I talked with some people in my Discord about how I was feeling about it, and they gave me some advice, just helped me vent and talk about it. And I decided that I just need to reframe how I'm looking at the game and like what I'm trying to get out of my channel and what I'm trying to get out of the game. Because this section, it was just not fun, and I don't want something that I've loved for like the last few years to turn into something that is a negative experience for me. And I really don't think it has to be. It's just that when you go too deep, like I felt like I did, I think that the rules of this game just starts becoming a waste of time. Like if you're really trying to get everything completely right according to how like and play a perfect game like according to how rules 1.6 dictates that you're supposed to, it's just a waste of time in my opinion, and I don't think it's worth it for basically anyone unless you just really, really for some reason specifically enjoy that. But I don't fall into that category, and I don't think most people will. But anyways, I don't want to just complain about the rules for that long because again, I don't want to misconstrue this video into me saying that like Marvel Champions is a horrible game because the rules suck. I don't think that the rules are really that bad, to be honest. It's just that when I was trying to understand it fully, the logical inconsistencies of in the rulebook that I would find just were becoming more and more frustrating to play and keep track of. And I just want to leave that whole thing behind. And that also brings me to the other thing that I want to talk about. And that's just that my life has been kind of stressful lately. So I'm currently a grad student. I have a undergraduate degree in physics, and I'm getting my master's degree right now in mechanical engineering, where I'm writing a thesis on characterizing battery electrolytes. And that's a lot of work. I've been doing that master's degree where I'm taking like a bunch of courses in combination with doing a bunch of research and trying to learn a lot about a field that's very complicated. And like my work weeks for some of these terms are like 70 plus hours devoted towards working on school and graduate school and my research and my thesis. And then through all of that, I was still maintaining my YouTube channel and like growing my YouTube channel. So like the biggest growth spikes through of my channel were actually through that time period where I was spending over 70 hours working on that and basically like ruining my mental health for a second. And that was rough. And I had to cut back and like create boundaries for myself on work to like maintain my happiness throughout that process because I was overworking myself. But now I'm coming to the end of my degree, and it's kind of crunch time for my degree to where I have 2 months to finish my thesis, and there's a lot I have to do, and I have to think very deeply about my research and my writing and my math and my physics and my experiments that all go into this thesis that I'm writing. And it's a lot, and it's really stressful having to wrap all of this up in the next 2 months. And then yeah, so it's just a bunch of extra weight on my brain. And then having my channel on top of that, I think is just it's just kind of too much pressure right now at this point. Like I feel like I need to cut back, and especially when my channel isn't early making playing this game has started to not be a source of fun for me and be a source of like um I don't know, frustration. And I don't know, I think that's the best way of putting it. Just it's become a source of frustration for me with the way I was engaging with the game. I need to cut back on it. So I hope that makes sense to everyone why I'm feeling that way. But I also want to address what this means for the channel going forward, because I don't want the channel to just end. So like one of the things I learned about myself throughout the process of those like really intense weeks where I was doing actually over 70 hours of work and school combined for my thesis was that you reach, or at least for me personally, I reach a certain point where my extra time that I start spending on work doesn't actually result in more output. So like for instance, when I wake up at like 7 or 8, and then go to my first class at 9 in the morning, and then do classes all day until like 3 p.m., come home, take like a 30-minute break, start doing homework, work on that for multiple hours, and start doing research, work on that for multiple hours. And then I'd be finishing my work around like 1 to 2 a.m. and then having to restart. That was really horrible. And I found that when I just had a cutoff of like, I'm starting in the morning at like 8 or 9 a.m. and I'm not allowed to spend any time on work past like 9:30 or 10 p.m., whatever it was at that time where I drew that cutoff. It didn't reduce my output, or it didn't reduce my output on what I was doing, and it actually improved my happiness, improved my sleep, improved a lot of different things like that. And setting those boundaries was really important for me. But similarly, because I have to keep those boundaries from my work and my research, I still will have time set aside for me to do the things I enjoy. And Marvel Champions is one of those things I enjoy. I just need to approach it differently. So, what that means for the channel, which is also something else I enjoy, is that instead of doing these gameplay videos, which adds all this pressure on me to like learn all these rules that are just a source of frustration, and like make these videos that I'm now starting to dread, I'm going to switch it to things I enjoy. And one of the things I actually am excited about is talking about deck building. So for Nick Fury, I really think that updating precon decks is really important. It's great for new players, great for older players, great for keeping multiple decks together and staying on theme. So I'm really excited to actually make a video about Nick Fury's precon deck, and then how to make just a few adjustments with like just the core box, if that's how you want to do it, to where here's what I suggest to change the deck to make it more functional if you just have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the core box. And then here's another one of how to change it and keep it with the same identity of what's going on, but if you have a full card pool. And that's even more relevant these days with the current and like legacy environments. And I'm actually looking forward to making that video. And when I played the second scenario of the campaign, after reflecting and choosing to not put any of that pressure on myself over the rules, and not to feel pressured to like post gameplay videos on my channel anymore, I actually enjoyed playing the game again, which was great. So I think that's more the direction I'm planning on taking the channel, is just making more videos around like deck building and analysis, and like reviews of the products, and like talking about how I felt about the like campaign mechanics and all that stuff, and then leaving the rest of the stuff that I've been not enjoying behind. And I'm hoping that that's going to be better for me, better for the channel, and then create better content for all of you to watch, and then just be overall a positive solution, so I can keep something that's really important to me and really fun and a source of joy for me as a source of joy, and not something that has become negative. So I hope all that makes sense. I don't have much more to say about it. I just wanted to share that all with you. Yeah, that's about it. Stay zesty. I'll see you next time.